You're listening to
They're going to call it a hard foul. They're going to call it a hard foul.
Hey there to our listeners at You're Going to Call It a Hard Foul podcast. This is Mike Quigley, the co-host with Jim Quigley, brought to you by Fan First Sports Network. And last night during our podcast, we were filming during the game, and the Knicks were down by probably like 24, 25 points at portions of it. It just was not close. Jaylen Brown was struggling. Spurs were hitting a ton of threes. And Jimmy and I made the mistake of counting the Knicks out, which we should have learned last year. You really can't. They're going to fight their way back, especially against a young, inexperienced team. And San Antonio, they got a little three happy in the second half, a little bit of fool's gold being really hot in the first half. You look at that second half, they took 12 three-point shots with 10 seconds left in the shot clock and only made one of them. They could have got better looks, especially we get a guy like Wemby who can shoot over the top of anybody. Credit to Michael Wilbon on naming that stat. And then De'Aaron Fox, just absolute mess throwing the ball out of bounds. And then that last play that we all know about. But enough about the Spurs. The Knicks have been impressive. Karl-Anthony Towns hit a huge three-point shot, falling down. Jaylen Brown put up 31, turned the ball over a lot. And then, of course, OG, talk about a championship performance. That tip back, those 5 or 6 threes, just made big play after big play and really chomping at the bit to maybe be MVP of the series. I expect the Knicks to close this out in 6 at MSG. It's been a fun series, great games, great fourth quarters, and you got to close the Knicks out. You can't let them come back. A lesson for the Celtics next year: finish your games, show up to play. Even when you play against teams with more talent than you can win. So the Knicks are showing us a lot about grit, and congrats to their fans, and hope you guys all enjoy the draft next week. I'll be watching it from South Korea, and we'll see if the Celtics make any trades. Maybe Rudy Gobert for Derrick White, or they go after Giannis or something like that. We will see. Enjoy basketball, guys. We are out.
All right, Mike, we're recording this with 4:44 left to go in the first half of the Knicks against the Spurs. And the Spurs are up 24 points right now, which I very much enjoy. We are Hard Foul. I'm Jim Quigley, as always, with my brother Mike. Mike, we are presented by the what?
We're brought to you by the Fan First Sports Network, bitch. All recording is done on Jimmy's equipment at his house at Stay Out of My Yard. Stay the hell out of my yard studios.
Get off my yard productions.
Yes.
It was a really nice try by you. So let's get into this. You want to take us away? You want me to give my opening thoughts on this finals?
Really entertaining finals up until tonight.
Oh, I'm enjoying this. But yeah. Is that all you have? Is that it's entertaining?
The games have been
the
games have been great. I mean, games 1 and 2 were comebacks in the fourth quarter, and then you saw the Spurs really, play great defense. And in game 3, I think they've been playing great defense the whole series, the Spurs. And I was expecting another close game tonight, but unfortunately, this is going to be a blowout. But hopefully, it goes 7. Hopefully we get a 7-game series. We'll see, though. The Spurs might be about to win 4 in a row.
So I got some things I like and don't like about, both sides here. Obviously, I thought you brought up I thought you were going to bring it up again right now. Just brought up a really good point about how the Spurs, late in tight situations, kind of remind you of those 2024 Boston Celtics, 2023 Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Kind of walking the ball up, 2-minute offense, settling for late shot threes. They might be open, but it's a late shot three. Instead of moving the ball, taking advantage of your athleticism and size and strength at so many positions. So that has kind of stood out to me. Karl-Anthony Towns. Look, no one's been hotter on Karl-Anthony Towns than me. He's been amazing.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. But through the first 2 games, a little bit in game 3, not great in game 3, but outplayed Wemby for most of the series up until tonight. Um, that
Well, I
and
think Wemby outplayed everybody in Game 3.
yeah,
He was the best
it,
player on the floor.
and I think through the first two games,
Yeah, Towns was
Carl
really
Anthony
good.
Towns was the best player on both teams. But you're right,
Yeah,
Wemby was
I agree
definitely
with
game
that.
three. Yep.
I agree with that.
I think the Spurs defense, we talked about their offense being not great. You brought up right off the top in this pod how great they've been. They're young gods, Mike. The Knicks better win this because I'm just not sure if another team from the East is going to have a shot at this for a little bit. As this team grows up, Dylan Hopper isn't close to the player he's going to be yet. And he's already awesome. He's an all NBA player. He's a future all NBA player. Stephon Castle is a potential all NBA defensive player, all NBA player. And then you have Wemby, and these guys aren't close to their prime. Um, it just, but the young guards, you watch Spurs basketball a little bit here and there because they're a good team during the season. Watching them as much as we've gotten to see them throughout the playoffs, they've just stood out amazingly.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, Dylan Hopper reminds me a bit of Penny Hardaway.
that's a
Like
good comparison. Yeah.
his size and just he does a little bit of every. He's a better shooter, I think, than Penny Hardaway. But yeah, I mean, the Spurs are definitely built for the long term, and you don't know. I mean, there hasn't been a back-to-back champion since Golden State. Most of the times, these teams don't even make it back to the NBA Finals anymore. There's a lot of parity in the league. Obviously, great young players getting drafted again in this upcoming draft.
Yep.
Um, an injury away from not making it. So you don't know. Nobody expected the New York Knicks, I think, going into the playoffs. Maybe in the offseason, people were saying they had a shot at making the finals, but nobody was picking them to make the finals this year going into it. So I agree with what you're saying, but the league's definitely changed a little bit. Like everybody was saying that OKC was going to make it back this year. So we'll just have to wait and see. If Wemby can stay healthy for another season. He's definitely built in a way that he's to me, he looks like the type of guy who could blow an Achilles or something at
Yeah,
any
he could.
moment.
Yeah.
So but yeah. I mean, the Spurs, they've drafted the best three
Well,
players.
I guess
Is it
I guess
three straight drafts that they did
three
that, right?
straight drafts. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. It's just talk about luck. This franchise had a horseshoe up its ass for the last 3 decades when it comes to lottery balls and everything else.
Luck
But
and stupidity. I mean, three teams passed on Castle.
which is unbelievable because that
Yeah,
draft was terrible outside of him.
I know.
Eh, And but I guess I should expand upon that. That also includes OKC when I say the Knicks or like whoever from the East. You better get yours soon, because even like OKC, I didn't really feel like they lost that series. I felt like the Spurs took it from them, and I actually thought that was good for the Knicks because I think the Knicks match up much better against the Spurs, where I don't think they really match up at all against the Thunder. Um, but
Yeah, but I
you
think the
know,
reason the Thunder, obviously, the Thunder's defense was still really good, but they didn't have a number two for that whole series, and they were kind of exposed without having Jalen Williams because they didn't have anybody who could create their own shot outside SGA.
no, without it, Jalen Williams is a great point. He
Yeah,
really
like
is. Yeah.
the Thunder were like really depending on Alex Caruso to hit threes, and luckily for them, he did. But like,
He
I
ran out
mean,
of gas.
their number
Yeah.
two replacement with Jalen Williams not out there had two shot attempts in Game 7. Chet Holmgren. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think if Jalen Williams plays in that series, I do think the Thunder win it. But that's what I mean. You never know, right?
No, you never know. You never know. Let's talk about the Knicks. The Knicks are here for a lot of reasons. Obviously, I think the bench has been a huge contributor.
No, I
Mike Brown
know.
deserves a lot of credit doing things that Tibbs never did, and maybe that criticism was pretty fair. I know it's hindsight; it's easy to say, but the bench has really come through. They've shown some great depth throughout this. They've also had guys everybody's healthy, which I think you need to go on runs like this. You look at all championship teams, they usually have great health. And that's not a criticism. I'm not calling that luck. You get through the season, that's good on you for being healthy. Um, I think OG Anunoby has become Scottie Pippen all of a sudden in these playoffs. His true shooting percentage was like something like 70%. Shamet was like at some point in the up until the finals was shooting 60% from
And he
three-point
shot
land.
lights out against Cleveland.
Just ridiculous numbers. Um, and they just in Karl Anthony Towns really throughout this entire playoffs has been excellent, and Brunson has made big shots.
Yeah, I think,
Um,
yeah,
it's a lot of combination of just guys playing at the highest level they can possibly play, and maybe never play like this again. And not guys like Brunson, but guys on the bench. And then your really good players doing really good things.
I mean, it's interesting. The last two seasons, they've only lost to one team. It was the Tyrese Halliburton Pacers,
Hmm.
and um, I just feel like these guys, like they just feel like a team that was built for the Eastern Conference playoffs. They got guys who really buy into their roles, like Josh Hart having 15 or 16 rebounds in Game One of this series. I feel like Anunoby turns into like a Scottie Pippen every playoffs. Like he really ups his game. He played really well against the Celtics last year for sure in that upset. And then another guy who just seems like a big game player is Bridges. And these guys show up in big moments, but I do think in a long series against a team as talented as San Antonio, your flaws get exposed a little bit. Like you said, Brunson's been really great in the fourth quarter, but you're kind of seeing it tonight. Um, he is undersized, and these guards are getting really physical with him. And with Wemby lingering in the paint, it's just not the best matchup. Really, this might be Brunson's kryptonite. Good size physical guards in a. I mean, Wemby's a freak, but like a great defensive center roaming. And yeah, my fear is what you're seeing right now might happen more than once. Just because the Spurs look locked in defensively. They just look locked in
Uh, the amount of
defensively.
turnovers, yeah, the amount of turnovers have caused Brunson. Going into tonight, he had the same amount of turnovers as assists. He was a negative
Not good.
on the floor. Like I think he was a minus 14 for the series. Um, he's been great in the biggest moments. So like a lot of this gets wiped away, but the advantage of, Wemby, of course, has been great, but the way Castles can cover him and the physicality he brings, a lot of
Hmm.
those turnovers are taking place before Brunson's getting to the paint, and they're being caused by the defense. And
Yeah, it's
it's
impressive.
easier to knock Brunson.
Impressive. It's
And I
impressive
think,
what the Spurs are doing.
and if he doesn't improve and they don't win this series, I think he deserves a lot. I think he'll deserve a lot of criticism, and we'll see where that goes. But I, I, I do, you look, this is a Celtics podcast. You start thinking who your top competitor is going to be next season in the East. It's definitely going to be the Knicks. It's going to be the Pistons with Kate Cunningham as they'll try to improve. It'd be nice to have a big, strong, physical God defender, wing defender. And Derrick White's not that. Derrick White's the best help defensive God I've ever seen in my life.
He's not
Just
that though.
incredible. But putting
Yeah.
him on the best players, you're taking away his strength. And that's what
Hmm.
happened against the Sixers and Maxey. It was a really dumb strategy from the get-go. So I just we talk about I don't know who that player is. Is Kamara available in a trade? You start racking your brain about like who that guy might be, where he is. Is there a guy undervalued,
Well, it was
or is there
Drew
a guy you
Holiday.
have to overpay
You had
for?
him. You
Yeah,
had
but
him.
I mean, Holiday with his age, games played, like you wonder if he can get. I think you need a young guy. I think you got to find a young guy somehow out there, even if it means you have to overpay a little bit. Um, maybe they try to do it other ways. There's other ways to build a team, but you do look at it and you have to think, you think about Maxey, you think about Brunson, Cade, you wouldn't put a guy like that.
Could be
Cade's going to
Hugo
bully anybody.
Gonzalez.
Yeah, could be Hugo. Could be Hugo if he builds into it. Um, he's got to get stronger. He's certainly athletic enough, but yeah, they're gonna have to. That's something they're gonna have to think about finding. And then you brought up the other part of it, Mike. Um, Wemby back there, just giving, you know, all the Knicks hell. They were still able to shoot lights out from three in games 1 and 2, which really helped them.
Game one, they only shot 11 for 36.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, but their threes were big.
Yeah, they were big, so
Yeah,
they felt like they
yeah.
shot lights out. So
Mhm.
they were like shooting 40% for the playoffs, over 40% going into the like it caps out. You do that for the extent the time that series after series, it's no longer luck. You just shoot them
14
really
straight
well.
games.
You
Yeah.
you just kicking ass. Like I'm not going to call that luck anymore. Um, but yeah, like. In the Celtics, that's probably the weakest position in the center. So what can they do there? And it's probably a good transition. I think
Yeah,
I
real
want I
quick
want to ask you. Oh, go ahead.
before we I do want to just Brad Stevens gets a lot of credit. Whoever is the GM for the Knicks, I'm not sure who it is. I think has done an incredible job building this team.
Yeah.
I even think about this offseason, what they did around like just their bench and identifying we need more shooting and more guard play, bringing in all guys on minimum contracts, like bringing Landy Shamit back, bringing in Jordan Clarkson. They obviously have Deuce McBride, then trading for Alvarado. They made a lot of little moves this offseason that I think is a big reason why they're here right now.
Oh, for sure. No, he's done a nice job, and I
And
forget
now it
his
feels
name.
like the Bridges trade was worth it.
If they win,
Well, I mean,
they have to win.
they made it here, right? I mean, you made
That's
it to
not.
the
I don't think that's good enough. We're tip for 5 picks. Not make just make. You've gone all in with
yeah.
Kyle Anthony Towns and Bridges, and
I mean, but
you.
they were a
That's a
franchise that was like
foul
winning
on
like 10 games a
Towns.
year for like 20
Yeah.
straight years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but no, but still, like, okay, fine. I want to ask you. That's one thing I forgot to ask you. Well, I'll ask it now. They were up 2-0, going home to Madison Square Garden. All the vibes, all the stuff,
Hilarious. You
Felt
see
it
all the
felt
fake fans and they're blowing it.
it felt like the country was behind them. Like it really did. Like if you at least in the
And then
online
Dickhead
universe.
shows up to the game.
Yeah. So yeah,
And then Epstein's like best friend sitting in the front row,
yeah, it's a MAGA Knicks, but. I, if they lose the series, where does this rank in terms of chokes?
blowing it.
It's
It's right
pretty.
up there. It's
It's
right
right
up there
up there with anything, right?
it's right up there with Dallas when Dallas had the 2-0 lead on Miami, but I think Dallas won those two games at home.
But
Um,
Miami was a super team, right?
well, they had Shaq. He was kind of on his last
Oh, that was
leg.
that. Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah,
This Wu Tang's performing right now. It's pretty cool.
Dallas.
Um,
Dallas beat Miami the next time, but um, I'm kind of thinking that because Dallas was up 2-0 and then Miami ran off four in a row, right? So
but Miami
yeah,
was at home when they game three was at home.
was it? Yeah. So this is
Yeah,
definitely worse. Kind of reminds you of another New York team, right? A little bit, the Yankees,
yeah. But I'm just saying, in terms of the NBA, it's tough to really find.
because it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
I mean, you can say Golden State being up 3-1 on LeBron and Kyrie. They definitely blew it,
That's
losing
right
three in
up
a
there.
row.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be that would be it. So it'd be that or this. Yeah, I would say that one's probably worse because that was a loaded Golden State team. That was an all-time team. As good as that Cavs team was, they weren't as good as that
Back
Golden
that
State.
series. Remember Kyrie and LeBron were each scoring 40 points a game, 3 games in a row.
Yeah, and then the
That was
Draymond,
nuts, man.
Draymond had that stupid thing where he got thrown out and suspended. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
it was really cost them. So yeah, this long series, the Knicks still may win this thing. But I do think, like, if they don't win this, if they don't win the championship now, being up 2-0 going home,
They might never win it
it's,
with this team, anyways.
I just, it would
And
be,
knowing James Dolan and how stupid he is, they'll probably trade for Giannis.
yeah, I'm sure they would think about something like that. But this would be one of the biggest choke jobs, I
Yeah.
think, in NBA history. All
And
right.
you got an undersized guard as your best player, with the more yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That wouldn't be disappointing to me. It was one of the biggest choke
I
jobs in
know.
NBA
I'm
history.
supposed to hate them, but I gotta be honest, up until tonight, like every Knicks game I've watched the last couple of years, like in the playoffs, they're really good games. Whether the other team's playing really good or they're both playing like the Pacers Knicks series, like the last two seasons, kind of were must watch. Like the basketball, just as a from a basketball ball standpoint, no, the Pacers, I think each series must have gone 6 or 7. Um, just very good basket, just very competitive. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it was good. It was great basketball, those games. I I I don't know. I can't
I
enjoy
think
them.
the part of the Knicks that pisses me off is that I watch them and I'm like, this is what how the Celtics should have been playing the last 2 years in the playoffs. Showing up in big moments, not blowing big leads. You know, not getting a not winning game one and then coming out in game two lackadaisical, ready to play, or being up 3-1 and coming out lackadaisical in game fives. Like, I get pissed off because it's like the Knicks have something in their DNA that these last two seasons the Celtics don't seem like they've had. And it's why when the season ended the way it ended this year, I wanted drastic changes. I still kind of do. Um, because there's no reason why the Celtics couldn't be in this moment right now
Oh, I
or
don't think
last
they were
year.
good enough. This year they weren't good enough to get here. I think they should have beat the Sixes. I think
Absolutely, they should have.
I think they would
Being
have.
up 3-1.
I think
And
they
then
would
you
have
watch
gotten.
the Knicks and they just attacked Embiid for 4 straight games.
I think they would have gotten killed by the Knicks.
Well, the way the Knicks were shooting.
Yeah, the way the Knicks were playing, and then you kind of, you could feel like the lack of talent on the floor for the Celtics, and when things started really unraveling
I think it
too.
was more than a lack of talent, though. I think it was more to it. I mean, they were up. They were up in game five. They were up in game six. And had an
They weren't.
opportunity.
They weren't up. They were losing the whole game in Game
Oh,
Six.
you're
Game
right.
Six was
But
a
they were up.
disaster. It was a wide
Yeah,
to wide loss.
yeah.
It was
Game
almost a
five is when they
wide
were
to
up.
loss in Game Seven. They came back, but it's pretty much a wide to loss in Game Seven too.
Well, game five wasn't a wide loss. They
No,
blew a.
game five was the one that when they didn't get Game Five, it felt over because they you could feel that Philly had a lot. They were a lot more talented than the
In
Celtics.
game
Like I was
seven,
surprised by how much the gap was, but you could feel it. And
in game seven, I mean, they had the ball a bunch of times down 1 or 2 points,
oh
and they
yeah,
just
they just
blew it.
missed.
Blew it.
Yeah, yeah, they got great looks and they missed, or they missed guys running open down the lane. I mean, Jaylen Brown had two shots to go in and out. Um, but they
Gross.
put themselves in that spot, where they needed they would needed a miracle comeback and to finish it off, and they couldn't. That is the difference between them and the Knicks, is they couldn't hit the shots when it mattered. They couldn't complete the comeback. But he was also, you think of who Jaylen Brown was out there at the end of Game Five with. It's him, Derrick White, Peyton Pritchard, Nimi, and Sam Hauser. It's not. That's not a championship team. Like we said that at the beginning of the season, and obviously Tatum did come back. But one of the things we talked about too going into the playoffs, at least I mentioned it, was I didn't think Tatum had the game in him anymore for this playoffs where he could just put the team on his back and score 45. If you remember a few years ago, the Celtics were in the exact same spot against the Sixers. They were losing game six, were losing wire
He
to
went off
wire,
and went off in
and,
the fourth.
and your talent took over. You the best player on the floor who
And
had
then
a
game
good game
seven,
took
Tatum just
over,
went.
and then he took over, and they had other good players surrounding them. I do think, and I've thought about this a bunch. The number one thing is like, and and it's going to be a question on how Brown receives this after being top six of MVP and being the man and really overall having a great season, outside of the playoffs. But the offense has to revolve around Tatum. Like when you watch his passing in the playoff, like his passing is at another level. It's better than it's ever been. He's gonna get the scoring back. Like those moments that we've seen before, they're not gone. They just weren't
Mhm.
there. now, right? They weren't there because of coming off the Achilles. Like, but that's going to come back. And so that's where I start for this offseason is how do we build it around him? Like
Yeah.
what's the best way to build this team and the best way to play basketball around Jason Tatum? And I do think he's a bit of a different player than he was a few years ago. I think he's a much better facilitator. So how do you capture that? How do you take advantage of that? And what's the type of players you need to do it? There's a
Yeah.
world where Brown it exists and they can be great together.
But my
Um,
question with Jason
but
Tatum is he a killer if his 3-point shot isn't on? Like,
well, we've seen
is
him.
he the type of guy in the playoffs
Sure.
where if he's 2 for 8 from three, can he go to the basket over and over again, get to the line 15 to 16 times, and win the game that way? Because I think that's what the Celtics need.
Well,
I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
what the Celtics need Jason
Yeah,
Tatum to be.
I don't know what his numbers were from the line against Milwaukee when he put up 46 in game six when they're down 3-2 against the defending champs.
But he was like six
Uh,
for 10. But he was like 6 for 10 from three in that game.
yeah, but
And so
it
like
was
when he has it going from three, that's when I'm saying like when he's not hitting his three, can he be that player? Because the other superstars can't.
well, I thought he was that way the entire Orlando series. He wasn't shooting for three. He was the best player on the floor. And then he had two very bad games against the Knicks. And
Yeah.
then came back and was great in game four before the Achilles. I thought he was I mean, he's been excellent a lot in the playoffs. He's been excellent a lot and has carried this team a lot in the playoffs. So yeah, Mike, I don't know. Like
I think that's the next part.
his shot wasn't going in game six against the Sixers. He was terrible. There was no 3-point shot. And he put them on the back when it mattered most, and he carried them to when they were dead ass. When they were dead ass, and he carried them to that. You know, I don't know what his numbers were at game seven in Miami on the closeout game,
Well,
but
he
he
got hurt.
carried no game seven when they went to the
Oh,
finals.
the
But he
finals.
carried them up until the last 3 minutes of that fourth quarter, the entire game. He
Yeah, they
carried
almost
them.
blew.
So I mean, he's done it. He's done it plenty of times, and he had no 3-point shot in the NBA Finals when they won it, and he should have been the MVP, and he was the best player on the floor. He was by far and away the best player on the floor, best defender, best rebounder, best passer. Led the team points, rebounds, and assists. So I don't know, like. Yeah, I think he is that guy. I think he's been that guy. He's won a ton. I just think it's a mistake if you don't start thinking about how you build this thing out. And what they have right now isn't good enough to be built around him. It's just not good enough.
Yeah, and I think the only way you do that is move in Derrick White and Jaylen Brown to see what you can get.
Well, I guess it depends what you're going to get for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
I
I mean, it to me, we've seen a lot of.
so would you do Jaylen Brown for Trey Murphy and DeJounte Murray?
No, I mean Demonte Murray, didn't he just come off like a serious injury?
Came off
He's never been
Achilles.
that. He's not been
He,
that good.
he was very good at the end of last season. I'm looking at trades that are out there. Would you do out of Jaylen Brown for Giannis, but you're not building around Tatum anymore under that scenario?
You're not, but I'd
Uh,
still do that trade.
mm.
I would trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis, as I said before. Yes,
I mean, outside of that one trade, what else is there? And
I'm
maybe
not
something
sure.
pops up,
That's the
but
one
like,
that I want them to make. I want them to move Jaylen Brown for Giannis.
what if there was a three-way deal? I saw this proposed where Okongwu and Trey Murphy come over and Jaylen Brown goes over to Atlanta.
Has Trey Murphy ever played more than 50 games in a season?
I have no idea. He's been close to being an all-star in the past. He's a good player, 25 years old.
I mean,
He's a name that I've heard out
he's
there,
heard a
so I'm just
lot,
throwing.
right? But like,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to see this because I feel like he's another one of those guys in the Pelicans that gets hurt all the time and doesn't play that much. Celtic fans love guys who are always hurt.
I I think he
See.
can keep Brown and make this work. I think you start from a place where you have two All NBA guys and you build it out, and everyone else is expendable to me. Everyone else, and you have a lot of tools in the toolbox this
I
offseason
can't get over
to make
how
moves.
bad Brown was against Philly and the Knicks the last two seasons. I just it left a bad taste in my mouth. And then
Well, he's playing hurt 2 seasons ago. Like I give him some grace there. He was bad this year, and
fucking
and
terrible.
they were running the offense through him a ton in just
Dribbling the
isolation.
fucking ball out in those
And
last
that's what
three
I mean.
games.
That can't be it. He's not. I think he's a very. He can get you through a regular season. I don't think he's a 1A player in the playoffs. And I think Tatum is because not only can he do the scoring, he does everything else. He can facilitate your offense. He's an incredible passer. You can run the screen and roll with him. He made Luke Cornett get $60 million this offseason.
Yeah,
You
Trey
know, who knew?
Murphy game. Yeah. Trey Murphy
So,
games played 57, 53, 66. I'm good. I'm all set.
yeah. Yeah, then that doesn't work.
Yeah, it
Um,
doesn't work for me.
but I'd look moves, I think Denver's going to try to do anything to get off Cam Johnson. Maybe there's a move there for Sam Hauser.
Tim Hauser, yeah.
In his ability, Johnson was bad last year, but he was very good the year before. He's a big long wing, good defender. I'd look to see what is out there for White. Can we
What
get
about what
a
about
really
Brandon
good?
Miller and what about Brandon Miller from Charlotte?
Why would they trade him?
Oh, if you're bringing in Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, but cost control, young guy, top three pick that you're building something with.
Yeah, but you're bringing a veteran to a team that is really probably too young to.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be hesitant because you're just speeding up getting into the tax too by bringing in a guy like Jaylen Brown with a young team
Mhm.
where you have some runway there in Charlotte. I mean they're not about championships. They're just about they're probably more about like being relevant.
Yeah,
And so you kind of have a runway there for a little bit with Miller and Ball to do that. I don't think that works for them.
yeah, you're probably right.
I don't think that works for them. I am interested in White's market. What he's going to be valued at this offseason. And you do wonder if one of these contending teams, let's say like the Nuggets or
Or Utah. I mean, not
Minnesota,
Utah, Minnesota.
yeah,
I
a
mean,
team
their
like
contracts match up. Him and Rudy Gobert for a 1-for-1.
or the Lakers, and I don't know what maybe it's a three-team deal. Like he's a really good fit in a lot of places, the teams that think they're kind of close and like an exceptional fit. It's actually tough to find a team that's contending that Derrick White doesn't fit on. You know,
Unless he shot the ball again like he shot it last year, then I'd be like, this is a 32-year-old aging guard that I'm stuck with for four
maybe, yeah,
seasons. I
maybe,
think
but he
too.
was also put into a much different role last season. If you can have him be a fourth or fifth shoot scorer on your team, making 29 million a year to be a great all NBA defender, making big plays. I mean, you could see where that works. Like you basically what he did 2 years ago.
Hmm.
It's like catch and shoot only. That's all you really have to do here.
Oh, this
Um,
series is over.
what just happened?
I don't know. Towns is down, and I don't think
He's the best actor on
anybody.
Broad.
I don't think anybody touched him though.
He's the best actor on Broadway. He'll be back in just a little bit.
See.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
no, it's his
yeah.
face. He's fine. All right. I
Like I
thought he might
said,
have. I thought it might have been like an Achilles or something.
the best actor on Broadway. Oh, he did get whaled.
Yeah,
He
Wemby
did
got
get
him.
he got whaled. Um, yeah. So what is Derek White's value? There's a lot of places he fits. Would the Nuggets consider Aaron Gordon for Derek White?
Do you think a big part of it is like you can't just bring this team back after blowing that 3-1 lead. Like you have to make some big changes here to.
You have to increase the talent. So yeah, you got to make big
Yeah.
changes. The talent levels, like I want to see them change the way they play. Brad addressed that at the press conference, scoring more at the rim, being better at the rim.
Can they though with this
Yeah.
coach?
Well, if
I
you'll
mean,
have to you'll have to move. You have to move on. I thought he made some real nice adjustments during the regular season. Unfortunately, fell back on some really bad habits. The biggest concern with him is he takes too long to make adjustments in the postseason.
Uh-huh.
And by now, that should be a learned experience where he's a lot better and he's not. So that's a huge concern. Um,
Yeah.
that's a huge concern. I I I just they got to get better at center. They need some like I mean I love Peyton Pritchard. I don't think he's a starting point guard, especially for a playoff team that wants to contend. And then they have a lot of guys that are nice. They're good players, don't get me wrong, but they're expendable.
They're,
And
they're
a
all
lot of them,
developed.
a lot of them kind of are repetitive, so
I
they
look at
gotta,
it as every player on the roster can be traded except Jason Tatum. Every single player.
yeah. Except
Yeah.
I would just say you better get a King's ransom back for Brown. If it's a move where
Yeah.
it's just saving money, like
No.
like I'm gonna lose my mind. He's not a bum.
No, it's gonna be
Like
like a Giannis type talent.
yeah,
It's gonna
I
be
don't
that
want
kind of.
Giannis, but yeah,
I think if they
but
get Giannis, they win it all. I don't know how
mm.
year two will be, but I think I think year one they're winning it all, and then we might see all the behaviors in year two and three.
Well, they'd have a lot of work to do to improve the roster to be on the level of some of these other teams, even with Giannis and Tatum. I think I just don't think you can roll out what they roll out as a supporting cast, even if you have two great players. This supporting cast to me is just not good enough. It's
Yeah,
just
no,
not
they would
good
have to
enough.
make obviously other moves, but I think that's coming though with Brad. I think it's coming. We've seen this before.
Well, they got to be willing to like go all out. That's the question. Or is this going to be like to be under the tax again? Are they going to be willing to?
That's a good point because they could. I mean, if they really went all out, they could use their full mid level. Then they could use their tax exemption, not their tax. I mean their trade exception, and trade for another guy if they really wanted to. They
Mhm.
could. They could
They
go
could.
all. It's but it's. You're right. Will they? I don't know.
Yeah, because like so they have the tax sitting there that like is a deterrent. How much of a deterrent to this ownership? We're going to find out.
We
But
haven't shown.
they have similar assets like they had going into the 24th season when they brought in KP and they brought in Holiday and they just brought in a huge influx of talent.
Yep.
Of course, Horford was already here and things like that, but they traded Smart and they have they have the ability to make moves. They're not barren by any means with draft picks or like tradable players. So
Who
like
could they get
what
with
are they
that
going to do?
exemption? Because $29 million, isn't it?
25, I think. I'm not,
25.
yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at it. I mean, we had no idea that KP would be available before the season last time.
You'd think that's got to
Uh,
be somebody pretty good.
yeah,
I would look at some of these. I mean, what does Sacramento have? How much is DeAndre Hunter making over there? Um, they can bring in talent. It's whether or not they want to pay the money to do it.
that's exactly it.
Yeah, I mean, even with
Um,
the full mid level, I question like, will they even use it?
yeah, I don't know. Like Kobe White's going to be hanging out there this offseason. He's a guy that gets to the rim. He's an electric scorer. He's an okay defender. He's not great by any means, but he would seem to fit in nicely
Mm-hmm.
with what they want to do. So, but are they going to extend themselves to try to get a guy like this? The Knicks are making a mini run right now, 7-0 run. They're down 22. Um, so
It's fucking
Abby Taylor
Spurs. Oh
Swift
my
is dancing.
god. I gotta. I just think fucking. I can't stand these fucking fans in New York.
No,
Oh my god.
no, they're pathetic.
It is,
Uh,
and like the amount of money you got to pay for a ticket, like no normal person can ever go to the NBA Finals now.
I know, I know. All right, Mike, let's close this out. Two things one thing that you like, one thing that you don't like, and I'll come back with mine.
Now, one thing that I like, I've been really loving a nice sausage pizza from the pizza place here in Haverhill. I get it cooked well done,
Well,
and
you got
it's
to say the name of the pizza place.
no, that's what it's called. It's
It's called the Pizza Place.
called the pizza place. It's
All
real
right.
original.
And you like a nice sauce. You love that sausage pizza, huh?
Yeah, Tommy gets the pepperoni. I get the sausage, and
All right.
I could eat the whole thing.
What's one thing you don't like?
Social media, it's ruining our youth.
Okay, yeah, I think you were going to come back with something a little more explosive. I guess you're holding out to the next pod.
Okay,
After
I'll
my
say fat chicks dancing on TikTok.
Mike's going to South Korea, so if there's any blowback from that, he's not even going to hear about it. He's going to be gone for 2 weeks. So on a plane on Friday, right?
Yeah, Saturday, flying
Saturday.
out. Yeah, fat chicks on TikTok dancing. It's disgusting.
All right. One thing I
Are all
like.
the fat people who eat on the social media and they make the noise before they eat it with like the stuff?
I hate people eating on the train in real time, like apples and shit like that. That
That's
drives me
disgusting.
absolutely
That's
insane.
disgusting. The
It's
fuck is
gross.
wrong with you to eat on
But
the train in Boston? You sick
yeah.
fuck. That's disgusting. People pee on
So
that train.
so what I liked this week was and it wasn't this week, but what I liked recently was all these college kids booing these Silicon Valley venture capitalist assholes that are speaking at their commencements, talking about how AI is going to take your jobs and how AI is here, and you guys, best of luck with your $120,000 student loans or whatever they might be. And I do appreciate them booing those scumbags, and because they do get butthurt. They can't believe when they get booed. They can't believe that people are upset that they're acting like
This
greedy,
is so
greedy
ego driven.
pigs, and like they're trying to take up all our energy, and no rules, no
Can I
regulations.
ask you a question though?
Yep.
Was it just the women booing or were the
No,
guys booing?
it
Because
was
a lot of
loud.
those guys, their girlfriend is an AI bot now. So I'm just worried about
Yeah.
how that conversation went that night when they got home with their honey.
Yeah, I don't know. And a lot of these kids, I'm sure, had their papers written by AI, and then the teachers graded them with AI. So nice world we're living in. Um,
Have you delved into the AI girlfriend experience at all?
no, I'm
No.
married. In fact, in a week, my marriage will be old enough to drink, 21 years. Um,
That's great. Do you think a sex bot would be considered cheating on your wife?
yes,
You do.
yeah, I
Wow.
do.
That's going to be a real
So
discussion down the line.
the one thing
We could
I
have one on the
don't
show.
the
All right,
one
go
thing I
ahead.
don't like,
Ipswich.
Ipswich lacrosse team, at the graduation, had cigars in their mouth. Someone said there was tea in them and not tobacco. I don't care what was in them. Kids have been having
What was
stogies in
in
their
them?
mouth. A parent tried to say they like we put tea in it. It wasn't even real cigars. To me that's not even a part of the discussion that I care about.
Oh,
Mike, the camera view is very weird on you right now,
oh,
and
sorry. I'm watching the game.
and so long story short, the principal decided that he was gonna forfeit their game, semifinal,
Wow.
the sectional semifinals for whatever division they're in. You go through your whole high school career to be in these type of moments. I don't think
What
anyone
a
was
loser.
hurt by the fact that these kids were, had scars that weren't even lit. It just, sometimes you need discretion with rules. Sometimes you need to show young people that we can give people grace when we understand the situation. These kids weren't out partying. There's
I
no
know.
pictures of them drinking or smoking weed. I just thought it was a real shitty way to make an example out of
I feel like
people, and
boys have
there
been
was no
lighting
excuse for it.
cigars at graduation for like ever.
Forever across the country, all walks of life. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there must be more to it. That principal's been trying to probably get these boys for a long time. He's probably been,
But then what's the point? It's over for them anyways. They
yeah.
graduated.
Oh
This is
no,
the end. Like
he's a
what's the point?
loser.
Yeah, I don't.
Something Danny McBride would do in a show of principals, vice principals.
Yeah, no, it's an awful way to end it for them. I think there's a lot of I hope there's a lot of introspection that goes on with the
He should
principal and
be
whoever
fired.
else made this decision.
He should
Yeah,
lose his, or get. I mean, that's ridiculous. Why hasn't the superintendent stepped in and said no? They're playing.
they found out on the bus on the way there to the game.
Yeah, he should lose his job.
It's really bad. Yeah,
Yeah, he
it's
should lose his
really,
job. Imagine being the
yeah,
coach
I know.
too.
I'd be
Yeah.
upset. It's very upset. All right, Mike, we'll talk soon. Enjoy South Korea.
When I was a child, I had a fever. My hands felt just like two balloons. Now I got that feeling once again. I can't explain, you will not understand. This is not how I am.
They're going to call it a half foul as part of the Fan First Sports Network. All production is done in house, part of Get the Hell Off My Yard Productions.